Hi guys, welcome back to Fragments of a Simple Life. For every video I make is super simple. Today I thought I would do Halloween in the spring. These are two magazines that I purchased for like October videos last year, I believe, or maybe once from 1 year and once from the year before. I don't remember, but all of these post-its up here are all of the stories that I've already covered for you guys about haunted places, a lot of historical sites and stuff like that. But I thought it would be cool to go back through these magazines and maybe read about some more places that we haven't gone over yet. I I ran out of the gray post-its, but I do have some green ones. So every time I read a story, I'll place a post-it. So that way, if we don't finish today, we can always come back and finish later. I think I'll start off with the one on top, which is America's Scariest Places. Oh, right. It says haunted, creepy, and abandoned. I hope you guys don't mind me doing this video. I'm actually hoping that by the time we get to October of this year, there'll be all new magazines out that we can start from nice and fresh. But in the meantime, I wanted to hopefully get through the contents of this one. So if you don't like scary stuff, you don't have to watch it. I understand. But if you do like interesting, mysterious, or like historical places, then please keep watching. So we have broken down into chapters in this particular magazine. Chapter 1 is Bloody Murder and Death. Hate that. Chapter 2 is Creepy Prisons and Institutions, not intuitions. Chapter 3 is Eerie Exhibitions. Chapter 4 is Ghosts of War, so that's like historical places. Chapter 5 is Spooky Churches and Graveyards. And Chapter 6 is Haunted Hotels. So if you go to my magazine playlist, you can probably find a lot of these stories. It looks like this first one right here we never did, so let's read it. It's called Morris Jumel Mansion, New York's oldest house. Not only has a tie to the musical Hamilton, it has ghosts. Ooh, creepy. Okay, this little blurb right here says Eliza Jumel, or maybe it's Humel, I'm not really sure, because it could be Spanish, I'm not sure. Her ghost is not the only spirit inhabiting the mansion. Servants have been heard in the basement, kitchen, and a soldier has appeared on the stairs. And then this little blurb right here says Aaron and Theodosia Burr. Aaron Burr haunts a New York City restaurant. The menu at 1 if by land, 2 if by sea features fine American cuisine with a side order of ghosts. The New York restaurant is housed in the former carriage house of Aaron Burr, whose bitterness after the duel with Alexander Hamilton seemed to have lingered in the afterlife. His spirit is said to have pushed an employee down the stairs. Burr's daughter, Theodosia, who died young when her ship sank, also is said to be a prickly spirit, snatching the earrings off female diners. I think not. I don't think I'd be going there. Okay, let's read about this mansion in New York City. It says Eliza, again, Jumel or Humel, I'm not really sure, tried so very hard to become part of New York's high society in the 19th century. Rich, well-married, and cultured, she took French lessons and traveled overseas with her wealthy French-born husband, Stephen Jamel. I don't know how to say it. Rubbing shoulders with the likes of Neapolitan Bonaparte. Neapolitan? What is wrong with me today? Napoleon, the Emperor of France. Eliza had dreamed of holding court in her splendid home, now one of the most palatable houses in New York. 9-bedroom villa high on top of a hill in the Washington Heights, built in 1765 by British military officer Roger Morris. and once used by George Washington as a temporary headquarters during the Revolutionary War. Crazy. But the city elite turned their blue-blooded noses up at Eliza, whom they saw as a crass social climber aspiring far beyond her station in life. Okay, so they thought that she didn't fit in because she wasn't like born super rich. She kind of like married into it, so they didn't like accept her, I guess. They resented her humble beginnings as she grew up poor. The fact that she was her husband's mistress before becoming his wife, and her Catholic beliefs. They whispered that she was once a prostitute in her mother's brothel. Dang. They doubted she was really friends with Bonaparte. The nasty rumors peaked in 1832 when Stephen died at age 77. That's pretty old for back then, isn't it? There were conflicting reports about his cause of death. Some said that he succumbed to pneumonia, but others say he died from falling off of a wagon or a carriage. Eliza's detractors said that he accidentally impaled himself on a pitchfork while doing errands and that Eliza hastened his death under the guise of trying to nurse him. So they blamed her. That's nice. Sometime during the evening, she helps him clean the wounds, but the problem is taking the bandage off means that he bleeds out. Carol Ward, executive director of the Morris Jamel Mansion, told news.com.au. Was it that she didn't have any medical knowledge and she thought she was actually helping? She might have, she might not have. What's certain is that his death made her even more fabulously wealthy and positioned her as one of the most eligible widows in Europe and America. Indeed, just 14 months after Stephen's death, the 58-year-old widow married the controversial former American Vice President Aaron Burr. That's where they're talking about him right there, who was 19 years her senior. At the time, Burr's reputation was in tatters from fatally shooting Alexander Hamilton in the duel. You remember that from the Broadway musical Hamilton. Most saw it as a marriage of convenience. Burr needed her money and Eliza wanted his social connections. Either way, it didn't last. Burr mismanaged her money and the pair separated only 4 months after the wedding. Eliza finalized the divorce on September 14th, 1836, the day Burr died. What? And lived out her years rich but lonely, holed up in the mansion while going increasingly insane. Dang. Her death in 1865 at age 90. Wow. These people lived a long time for back then. The mansion became a popular tavern and today a museum that visitors say is haunted by Eliza's ghost, walking the hallways in dirty clothes as she did during her tragic final years. One school group touring the mansion, saw a gray-haired old woman on a porch who leaned over the balcony and told them to shut up. Dang, the description matched Eliza perfectly. You know that's pretty scary when like a whole group of kids was like, we saw an old lady, like all of us. That's crazy. In 1964, the New York Times reported on an attempted exorcism by ghost hunters author Hans Holzer. A medium accompanying Holzer claimed to channel Stephen, who said that his wife had tried to kill him and that he'd, quote, been buried alive by a conspiring doctor. Eliza's ghost then appeared and told the pair to, quote, go away or I'll call the police. What the heck? Oh my gosh. That's a pretty good story. She finalized the divorce on the day Aaron Burr died. Did he die of natural causes? Okay, we read both of these. We have not read this one. The LaLaurie Mansion in New Orleans. A fire revealed a pre-Civil War socialite's torture chamber for slaves. Yikes. Oh my gosh. Okay, what does this blurb say up here? It says, upon entering one of the apartments, the most appalling spectacle met their eyes. The New Orleans Bee reported in the wake of the 1834 fire at the home. Wow. You would never guess to look at this picture now what it was, right? This is her. This is Daphne LaLaurie. It says, as thick smoke rose over the French Quarter, neighbors raced to Madame LaLaurie's mansion to find it engulfed in flames. In the kitchen, a black maid was chained to the stove. She admitted to setting the fire in a suicide attempt and said there's more people still inside. The rescuers went upstairs, wow, to the slave quarters where the door was locked. They implored Madame for the keys, but she refused to provide them, so they broke down the door and faced a scene out of their worst nightmares. 7 slaves were discovered, more or less horribly mutilated, according to the New Orleans Bee newspaper. Suspended by the neck with their limbs apparently stretched and torn from one extremity to another. Jeez Louise, I apologize, you guys. This is worse than I thought it was going to be, but this is a true story. The fire on April 10th, 1834 exposed what many people in New Orleans had thought were only cruel rumors, that the lady of the house, twice widowed socialite Mary Delphine McCarty, LaLaurie, tortured her slaves. Even in the pre-Civil War South, where the enslavement of human beings had been an established and accepted practice for generations, the discovery of what was being called the LaLaurie torture chamber drew outrage. Yeah, it's one thing, I guess, to be a slave owner during this time, but to know like what you were doing behind closed doors to them, jeez Louise. I'm sure it's not a unique story though, like if you did research. It says, but LaLaurie's appeared to be unapologetic. A judge who inspected the home and saw the condition of the slaves questioned Madame's third husband, Dr. Leonard LaLaurie, who responded dismissively, quote, some people had better stay at home rather than come to others' houses to dictate laws and meddle with other people's business. That's your justification? Wait, the justification of the torture of human beings is don't come to my house, stay out of my business. That's basically what the husband is saying. That's insane. A mob stormed the house and destroyed everything that wasn't burned, and the LaLauries fled New Orleans to places unknown, though many believe they went to France. Meanwhile, an inspection of the mansion found more horrors. Bodies were buried on the property, including the corpse of a child slave who had reportedly incurred Madame's wrath. Of course, if she doesn't have patience for adult human beings, there's no way she had freaking patience for kids. The mansion went through multiple owners and uses over the years. For a brief time after Nicolas Cage owned it. I feel like I heard this before. I feel like I'm having like a flash memory to like a TV show. I feel like I watched somebody do ghost hunting on this. I don't know. But one thing remains constant. The spirits of those tortured slaves have never left, wailing in pain. A man who was murdered in the home in 1894, when it was converted into apartments, had previously told a friend that there was a demon in the house that wanted him dead. Wow. While Madame is said to also roam her former home, grabbing arms and scratching people. I feel like if she moved out and ran away from what she did, why would she come back and haunt this place? I don't know. This is the kind of disgustingness of history where like ghosts don't really need to be real in this place for it to be disturbing and probably creepy to go inside of, just knowing the history. We already read both of these. We read this one, but not this one. I know this story though. This is the La Bianca house. For sale, a nice house with an evil history. This is in LA. That's Charles Manson, if you know who he is and you know what this is going to be about. This little blurb says, the house was has a very dark and gruesome history. but I was also intrigued by the energy I felt while there. TV host Zach Baggins said, "It was mysterious and palpable." Yeah, this is a very well-known story. Okay. Some houses have curb appear. For paranormal investigator Zach Baggins, I think that's how he says his name. Anyways, I don't really like him very much, just my personal opinion. The Los Angeles home where Charles Manson followers brutally murdered Leno and Rosemary La Bianca had ghost appeal. In 2019, the host of the TV show Ghost Adventures purchased the Spanish tile two-bedroom, two-bath home in I didn't know he bought it, Los Feliz neighborhood for $1.89 million to shoot a project there. There was a very, very strong energy in the house, Baggins told The Guardian. This is a beautiful place with a very dark history. Just side note, did you guys hear the story about his co-host of Ghost Adventures, and that the wife did a plot, like a murder for hire plot to kill him? I don't know that story. I haven't been paying too much attention, but I know who he is from watching Ghost History, or Ghost Adventures, so I was like, holy crap. Anyways, not about this. On August 11th, 1969, Manson and a member of his family sneaked up the long, steep driveway and tied up Leno, a supermarket executive, and his wife with lamp cords. Manson left after robbing them, but three of his followers stayed behind and stabbed the couple to death. The word war was cut into Leno's flesh, and a fork was stuck out of his stomach. Ew. The helter-skelter quote was scrawled on the refrigerator in blood, misspelling of the Beatles song Helter Skelter, and on the wall was blood written, "Death to pigs," quote, "Death to pigs." It was one of two homes closely associated with Manson's evil. The day before the La Bianca slayings, his followers stormed a rental house in Benedict Canyon and slew pregnant actress Sharon Tate and four others. We all know that story too. Horrible, horrible, horrible. The house has since been torn down and a new one is built on the property. Baggins only owned the La Bianca house for a short time and scotched the film project out of respect for the couple's family. He listed the house in 2020 for 2.2 and sold it the following year for 1.87. Dang. He lost money on that house. Just saying. Because he bought it for 1.89. Oops. And then he tried to sell it for more and he was unsuccessful. Probably because someone was planning on destroying it. Because no one wants to live there because it's yucky. Haunted Hollywood. Okay, now we're on to chapter 2, which is creepy prisons and institutions. I think I'll read one from here, and then I'll kind of flip through, maybe read one more, and go on to the next magazine. We've read this one because there's a post-it there. Okay, we didn't read about either one of these, so let's do Alcatraz. Believe it or not, I've never been to Alcatraz. I've seen it from a distance. I've looked at it with those little binoculars on the edge of the pier in San Francisco, but I have not been there. I kind of want to go, but let's see. A psychic encountered a malevolent spirit named Butcher in one of the cell blocks. Records revealed that the man with that name was killed at Alcatraz back in the 1940s. Ooh. It says, "Does a creature with glowing eyes haunt the rock?" Okay. The official line is that nobody ever successfully escaped from the federal penitentiary on Alcatraz Island. That didn't keep inmates from trying. Some were tackled by guards or gunned down before they got out of one of their cell blocks. Others made it as far as San Francisco Bay, though surely drowned in the cold water with the strong tides. The larger, eerier question is how many prisoners never left Alcatraz, still remaining behind the dusty, rusty bars of the rock, some 60 years after the prison shut down, moaning, rattling, stomping, whispering, even playing a musical instrument and scaring the daylights out of today's visitors. Like the icy winds off the water, the spirits are said to drift through this legendary edifice of punishment, which housed some of America's most notorious criminals: Al Capone, George Machine Gun Kelly, Robert Birdman Stroud, James Whitey Bulger, and Meyer Mickey Cohen. In the notorious cell 14D, where the inmates who ran afoul of the rules were sent for solitary confinement, the separation and isolation could break even the most hardened criminal. Legend has it that one inmate screamed out in terror that a glowing-eyed beast was trying to kill him. Dang, that's terrifying. When his screeches stopped, guards found him dead, allegedly strangled, but by who or what? Today, visitors to the cell swear they're overcome with a sudden chill, no matter the temperature. There have even been reports of swinging cell door in C block, disembodied voices whispered, a harmonica playing in D block, and a banjo being strummed in, of all places, the showers. That's weird. Maybe I won't go to Alcatraz. Because if I hear one weird thing, how am I going to run away, right? We haven't read this one yet, but I'm going to skip forward a little bit and see what else we can see. Let's try to go to different. Here we go. Eerie Exhibitions. Read that one. Read that one. I didn't read this one. New Orleans. Another New Orleans. Pharmacy Museum. A physician who couldn't heal thyself is still an angry presence. The blurb says, some people have felt a shove from behind. Pregnant women have had stomach cramps on the second floor where Dr. Dupas conducted gruesome experiments. No, thank you. Okay, it says, by the standards of the 19th century medicine, the apothecary in the French Quarter of New Orleans was cutting edge, stocked with the best and latest that science could offer, and staffed by America's first licensed pharmacist. Before Louis J. Dufiho, I might be saying that wrong, Jr., passed the newly offered pharmacist licensing examination in 1816, almost anybody who apprenticed for 6 months could help or could whip up their own miracle tonics. I can't get over that. Miracle tonics that all too often made patients sicker. For years, Dufio, I don't know if I'm saying that right, and his family operated the nation's first apothecary shop based on proven knowledge and skill until they sold it in 1855 to a doctor and his wife. That is when the trouble may have started. The new owner, Dr. James Dupas, that's a funny name, was not known to hold the high medical and ethical standards, as evidenced by his reputed experiments on pregnant slaves. Yikes. And his death in 1867, reportedly from syphilis. Okay. He is said to now angrily haunt the site, which operates as the Pharmacy Museum. Visitors touring the historic building with its collection of vintage equipment and supplies, including a fully restored 19th century pharmacy shop, have spotted a mustachioed ghost in a brown suit with a brown top hat. This spirit reportedly throws books and ransacks the collection with such malevolent force that it has been known to trip the alarm system. Yikes. Pregnant women in particular are known to trigger these violent paranormal outbursts, and some moms-to-be have had strong emotional reactions when they enter the museum. No. Research before you go somewhere and don't go here. That's what I say. No. Okay. Let's stop here for now and look at the other magazine. Let's do that. This is Life, as in Life magazine. This is their world's most haunted places. Creepy, ghostly, and notorious spots. We've done a lot in here too, I think. This is also broken up into areas around the world. So we have US and Canada, Latin America, Asia and Australia, Europe, and Africa. So instead of what kind of place it is, it's broken up to where it is in the world. So I'm just gonna start turning until I find one that I didn't read yet. This one I did read. I put a post-it here. I should actually put the post-it here because that's where the story starts. Correcting myself. Haven't read that one, but that's another one about New Orleans. Surprise, surprise, right? A lot of this we've already done. This is a lot of America. The Psycho House. Alcatraz, we literally just read about that. Okay, let me go back. Ooh, what is this one? Tombs of the Pharaohs. Pyramids of Giza. Okay, it says, the little blurb says below. Inside the tomb of Idu at Giza, Egypt. At right, I'm going to butcher this name too. It's Saqqaras. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Pyramid of Unas, where the magical spells that became the Egyptian Book of the Dead were found. Wow. That's creepy. Okay, let's read about it. It says carved on the walls and sarcophagi, I don't know how to say that, you guys, of the pyramids of Saqqara, about 20 miles outside of Cairo. Sorry, I'm just butchering all of these words. Are magic spells designed to help the ancient Egyptian pharaohs navigate the afterlife and later became part of the Egyptian Book of the Dead. They're a kind of celestial map detailing all the ways in which a pharaoh's spirit could travel and explaining how to reanimate his corpse. It says, quote, take your head, collect your bones. One verse reads, gather your limbs, shake the earth from your flesh. What? But it seems some pharaohs didn't get the memo. People have claimed that the ghost of Akhenaten, for one, appears in the Egyptian desert, and Khufu, for whom the Great Pyramid of Giza was built, again, I could be saying that wrong, is said to leave his burial place, the largest Egyptian pyramid, at midnight. The spooky happenings aren't limited to ghosts, though. The so-called mummy's curse is, according to legend, not just some Boris Karloff movie. In 1923, popular British novelist Marie Corelli announced that the most dire punishment follows any rash intruder into a sealed tomb. The public enthusiastically agreed when George Herbert, the 5th Earl of Carnarvon, I don't know where that is, who had bankrolled the excavation of King Tut's tomb, don't do that, died of pneumonia a month after the pronouncement. See, why would you mess with someone's resting place and think nothing bad's gonna happen to you? It says in parentheses, the cause was most likely an infected mosquito bite, not the actions of avenging mummies. Whatever. I say mummy. It says a radiologist who supposedly x-rayed the remains of the boy king died of a mysterious illness. A man succumbed to pneumonia after visiting Tut's tomb, and a member of the excavation team allegedly died of arsenic poisoning. Hokum, not according to Shirley MacLaine's The Star of Downton Abbey in its 3rd and 4th season, who claimed that Highclere Castle, where, I don't know if I'm saying that right either, where the series was filmed, is haunted by Egyptian ghosts. Huh. It says Carnarvon was the master of the estate when he died. They had the tomb of King Tut in the basement, she said. What? That's not good. It says maybe the ancient Egyptians were right, the spirits of the dead live on. But who knows they spend their days in the afterlife among the crawlies. Crazy. I don't know. I just say like maybe don't mess with people's tombs, maybe. I don't know. Let's see here. Trying to go to the middle a little more. Suicide Forest. I think I've heard of this before. I don't want to read about that though. He has an intense face and skulls in his hand. I'm scared to read this. I don't know why, I just feel scared. Okay, let's just do this. Fatal Shores of Lake Titicaca. That's what it's called. I'm not saying a bad word. Opposite page. The shores of the mysterious Lake Titicaca, and on top, the gate of the sun at, again, I'm going to butcher a word, Kalasasaya Temple? Sure. It's a pre-Columbian city near Lake Titicaca. The carving is from a single block of stone. The temple was part of an astronomical observatory. Wow. Cool. Okay. It says, you're floating 100 feet below the surface of an ancient lake. When through the watery gloom, you see shapes of things that don't seem to belong here. I hate it already. A terrace, a wall, algae-covered staircases lost in the depths, and a road leading nowhere. Sounds like a dream? Or a scene from the latest Indiana Jones film? Maybe. But this actually happened in the year 2000 when scientists discovered a long-rumored pre-Inca ruins of a 660-foot long, 160-foot wide temple under Lake Titicaca, an ancient body of water high in the Andes Mountains on the border of Bolivia and Peru. The flooded temple is just one of many mysteries surrounding this lake, not least of which is the remains of, oh no, Tiahuanaco, I don't know if I'm saying that right, a sacred ceremonial center near Titicaca's southern shores. It reached its peak between AD 400 and 900 before collapsing in the first half of the 12th century. Wow. It says, though some have said the Inca built the city, Tiahuanaco, I don't know if I'm saying that right, probably predates them by at least 1,000 years. Then who made it? Wow. The Inca believed Lake Titicaca was the birthplace of the sun, and that they were its children. Some have suggested the Egyptians were somehow involved in its construction, and the ghosts of the ancient race have reportedly been seen, particularly inside of the Kalasaya, one of the ruins' main buildings. It lies in the ruin, it said in Tiahuanaco, I don't know if I'm saying that right, probably not, lie in the ruins of Pumapunku, thought by some to have been built by, wait for it literally says wait for it, extraterrestrials. Yes, we've heard this before. Ancient megaliths seem to automatically signify the presence of otherworldly astronauts, but UFOs have been spotted all over the lake area where, so the legend goes, the sun sent the founders of the Inca civilization. Do you guys believe in aliens? Comment below. I kind of do. Just like from a logical perspective, don't you think the universe is pretty big and something else could be out there? I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. Look, Machu Picchu, Inca tombs, all over. They're all over this place. I want to see if I can find one more. Ooh, Queen Mary. My husband almost took me here for my birthday to do like the ghost tour or whatever, but sold out and super expensive. So I think we might go this summer. I don't know. We'll see. But if I ever do the Queen Mary, I'm going to take you guys with me. I'm definitely going to make a video of that. It says the Queen Mary is seen here in 1936, nearly completed in the shipyard of Clydebank, Scotland. What? I had no idea. Okay, let's read about Queen Mary and then we will end this video. Okay, years after the legendary Queen Mary luxury liner was permanently docked as a hotel and tourist attraction in Long Beach, California, well, really not that far away from me, a marine engineer named John Smith, that's a very unique name, just kidding, had an unsettling experience while prowling the ship late at night. In the deserted staircase, Smith heard the sound of water rushing and men screaming, but no one was there. Later, Smith learned that in 1942, when the liner was being used in World War II, it collided with its companion vessel, the HMS, is it Curacao? I think, on its way to Scotland. The Curacao was immediately sheared, yikes, in two and sunk, killing 338 men. Jeez. Quote, the very area I heard that mysterious water rushing was the same exact area that was damaged when the ship hit the Curacao, Smith told Unsolved Mysteries. Yes, Unsolved Mysteries. Love that show. It's not surprising that a more than 80-year-old ship with more than 1,000 ocean crossings and a reported 49 deaths behind it would have a reputation for being haunted. Before it was retrofitted, painted gray, and used in the war as a so-called gray ghost, the Queen Mary began as a luxury liner in 1936, ferrying the likes of Fred Astaire and Bob Hope across the Atlantic. But during the war, in addition to the collision, many German and Italian POWs carried on the liner may have died, as did soldiers from heat stroke traveling the Mediterranean and Indian Ocean. It says, we know that other deaths from natural causes, suicide, and accidents occurred. I'm guessing there'd probably be a lot of accidents on a ship that big, right? And there are still others that the owners tried to hide for a more dark and sinister reason, wrote Brian Clune in Ghost of Queen Mary. I guess that maybe is a book or something. It says room B340, I've heard of this room before from people who've done tours, widely believed to be the most haunted on the ship, a site where a family was allegedly murdered, but Clune says this is a fiction created by former owners who wanted to use the unoccupied space as part of a tourist attraction. The real side of the murders, Clune says, is room B474, which is, of course, haunted, as are the B deck, where the morgue and isolation rooms were located in World War II, the engine room, the green room, and the area known as Shaft Alley. But the most spirited area on the ship may be the former first-class pool area, home to little Jackie, a 5 or 6-year-old girl who's perhaps the ship's most famous ghost. She's playful and talkative. Her voice has been allegedly caught on tape many times. You can find examples on YouTube. I'm not saying that. They wrote that. Sadly, she is said to remain on the ship because she's looking for her mother, whom she sometimes cries out for. Aww. Another pool room ghost is known as Grumpy, a growling, cigarette-smoking spirit said to haunt the storage area beneath the pool. The choking sounds near the old hospital area allegedly emanate from a ghost of an officer who died after drinking poison that he thought was gin. Why would there be poison on the ship? Still, other ghosts include Lady in White, I've heard of that one before, who's often seen dancing to unheard music in the Queen's salon, and the spirit of an 18-year-old crewman, John Peter, who was crushed by airtight door number 13 in the shaft alley while playing chicken with his coworkers. Yikes. These days, the grand ship capitalizes on, not to say exploits, its spooky reputation by offering haunted tours, interactive attractions, and seances. There's even a dinner special called Dining with Spirits. That's what I was going to go to, which allows you to pair paranormal investigations with more earthbound spirits. Bloody Mary, anyone? Ooh. Do they mean the drink or the game that you play in the mirror? All right, guys. Oh, wait. Let me do that a little higher up. That is going to be it for me. I hope you enjoyed us looking at some haunted places around the world and some of America's scary places. Like I said, I think I'll call this video Halloween in Spring. There's definitely more to read, so if you guys don't mind me sharing scary places, even if it's not Halloween, please let me know. Thank you for watching. Thank you for liking, commenting, subscribing. I appreciate all of you, and I will see you next time. Bye.